Hello, this video will give you the grand tour of ArcGIS story maps. To get started creating an ArcGIS story map, simply go to storymaps.arcgis.com and sign in using your organizational account. Once you sign in, you're going to see an icon that allows you to create a new story, and if you created any previous story maps, you'll see those also listed here. To get started creating a story map, we're going to click Create New Story Map, and it will take us to the Story Map Builder. Once here, the first thing that it asks us to do is to provide a title for our story. However, before we do that, let's explore some of the options that we have available up here at the top. These options will impact the overall look and feel of your story map. If I go to design, here I can see the various ways that I can present my cover. Right now, the way that the design is shown is that my title area is covering the entire screen. However, if you want to make it where your title is at the side and your map, image, video is over on this side, you can do that, and you can also switch those around. So if you click that, it will change that around. Or you can do the minimalistic title by using this option. So these are the three cover choices that you have available. Other options that you have for your use are having a navigation bar and having a section that has credits. I would always encourage you to keep the credits selected, because oftentimes you have to attribute where you got your images, where you got the sources for your research and so forth. And navigation is also nice, as it makes it a little bit easier for your map audience to navigate your story map. However, there are times, of course, when you wouldn't want to use that. To show you what that looks like, if we come here to this particular story map, and when I scroll down, you can see that it has navigation here. And essentially what this is every heading that I have in my story map becomes gets placed on the navigation bar. And then you have properties here where you can change this around or turn items off as on and off as needed, or rename something, etc. So that's what the navigation option does for you. And I'm going to enable mine, and I'm actually going to select my cover there. And then you have 6 different themes that you can select from. It's just really a matter of exploring the various options. It's helpful when exploring these that you maybe come to this after you have some content added, so you can see the impacts of the theme change to your content. So you have these 6 available here. And then you also have then associated with each theme certain accent colors, which you can change by coming here. You can pick one of the recommended ones, or you can enter the custom color here. You can also scroll down to the font pairings. With each theme, they have different font pairings that are associated with them. However, you can change those simply by clicking on the drop-down arrow, and you'll see the font pairings that are available in ArcGIS story map. So you can change those around as needed. For instance, I tend to like this particular one, and I actually tend to like the ridgeline theme quite a bit. And then finally, if you wish, if you have a theme, or a logo that you might be using for your story map, you can click on this and then navigate to an image that would be your logo. And you can see that it gets added in this area here. So those are some just general design settings that are available in your for your story map. Other things that I think are interesting to note, after we put a title in here, there's going to become a date where the word draft is located, and not all the times you want the publication date on the title of your story map. You may not want any date there. To enable or disable that, you click on the More Actions item here, and then go to Story Settings. And from Story Settings, you can hide the publication date on the cover, and then you can also hide the social media icons that will appear when you publish your story map. So those are just some additional settings to be cognizant of. So now I'm just going to create a quick title for a story map. And you can put a subtitle if you wish. And then you can add an image or a video for your cover photo or video. Essentially, you just click on this to upload a particular file that you might want to use. And I'm going to go and find an image for the Spanish flu, and I'm going to add that to my cover. You can see that you can move your title to the top, you can move it to the bottom. So you have a couple of options with where your title is placed. You can click on the little gear switch to see the properties of this, and you can provide alternative text, and you can also adjust the focal point for the image. So if you wanted to change that, you can click on that on the properties there. If you decide that this is not what you want, you can click delete, and it will delete that from there. One thing to note with this add image or video that I think is important, while you could upload your image, note that the link is not available here. So with this option, you have to upload either your video or your image, which prevents you from linking to something like YouTube or something like that, because that link option is not yet available. And if you hover over that option, it just says currently linking to media is not supported in this part of the story. So when you do see things grayed out like that, it will give you that indication as to why. So again, I'm just going to go back and quickly add that photo again, so I have my photo added. So that's how to add an image to your cover. Next, when it comes to then creating your story map, you'll come down here to this little plus sign, and you're going to see a list of the tools that are available to you for the creation of your story map. And you're going to see at the top is pretty straightforward tools. These first 6 are pretty intuitive. Immediately you likely know what they do, and so forth. The next 2, the separator essentially just places a line separator between different sections of your story map. The button can be programmed to go to any URL, which is really cool. So like if you want to send them out to, say, another story map, or to maybe a survey 123 survey, any URL essentially that you would want to send them to can be linked to the button. The next set of tools here are, again, probably fairly intuitive to many of you, especially the image and map, the image and video, as we just added that up in the cover area. But the map and the embed might not be as familiar. Embed allows you to use embed code from any web element to embed it into your story map. For instance, a YouTube video, a survey 123 survey, anything that's embeddable can be used with this. Map allows you to insert a map from your ArcGIS online account, one that you have already created. For instance, I have a number of maps here created for the 1918 influenza pandemic, where we are looking at the 3 waves of the pandemic, from the deaths in early 1918 to the late 1918, and then the early 1919. So to add any one of these, I just simply click on it, and I can do some map editing should I wish to do any map editing before I add it by just clicking Edit Map in ArcGIS, and it will open it up in ArcGIS Online. If I'm happy with it the way that it is, I can just simply click Place Map, and the map gets placed here. You can then use the settings that are available for the map to position it and size it the way that you might like. So for right now, it's on this option here, which is a medium option, but you can make it larger so that it takes up the whole space that's available. You can do small, and then you can do it where it's kind of just a little, kind of almost I call it a sidecar, which is probably not, there's another thing in here that's called sidecar, but I kind of think of this option as that type of thing. And then you have your edit here, so if you want to go to edit your map again, you would just click that in order to do it. So I'm going to change that back to medium for now. And then I'm just going to go down here to add my next map element, and you can see how you just hover over it and it lets you do that. The other part of this when adding a map that you can do is you can add what's called an express map. An express map is something that does not get saved into your ArcGIS Online account. It is one that you're creating here on the fly to insert into your story map, and you have your list of tools here available. There'll be another video that explores how to use the express map functionality. And then finally, in separate videos, we will explore the sidecar, the slideshow, and the guided tour. I tend to liken these to some of the classic story map templates from previous. I think of the sidecar as the map journal. I think of the slideshow as the Cascade app, and then I think of the guided tour as the map tour. So that's kind of just a general description of each one of these. And if you hover over the little ID tool, it'll tell you just a little description of what this particular tool is meant to do. So again, we will explore those in another video. Once you are ready to publish your story, you would come over here to publish, and then say who you want to publish it to. It's a good idea to, I think of the publish button almost like a save button. While story maps will automatically save, I also like to publish the story every once in a while just to make sure that the saves get made. So I'm going to click publish story, and I'm only going to publish it for myself right now because this is certainly not ready for a consumption for a wide audience. And then notice that it takes you back to this screen where you hit see edit story. So you just click on edit story to go back to adding elements to your story map. So hopefully this video gave you a really quick tour of the items that are available in ArcGIS story maps. In the upcoming videos, we'll explore the other more sophisticated functionality of story maps.